User Account Management. Okay, so over here on the left-hand sidebar, you're going to see a tab called Users and then All Users. This is going to display all the users on your website, all the different accounts. So probably at this time, you probably have one account, the administrator account. So the administrator role is the highest level role on your site. It has full access to the site. It can add and delete pieces of content, edit the site, and also delete other users. So be very careful about giving anyone administrator access to your website, because then they have full control over the site. Now, right now we only have one account right there. So we have the username, name, email, the role, and the posts. So very, very simple. Now, as the administrator, you can also change the role of other accounts. So let's just pretend this was not the administrator account, it was something else. We can just click on it. Then we can change this role to something else like subscriber, contributor, author, or editor. Now, to add on new users is very simple. You just click over here to add a new user. Then you have to give it a username and email for this specific account. Now, the email has to be different from the administrator email. Okay, it can't be the same thing. Username can be whatever you like. Then the rest of the information over here is optional. Then just generate a password. And as you're creating this role, you can choose what you want them to be. Are they a subscriber, contributor, author, editor? Whatever you select gives them different levels of access to your site. If that makes any sense. So pretty simple to add on new users. So this is quite useful if you're trying to hire an additional writer for your website, for example. Then you want to maybe add them on as an author, so that author role can write pieces of content on your site without any limits, but they don't have access to other things like the site design or deleting or editing other pieces of content that weren't written by them, things like that. So anyways, let's navigate back over here to all users. And if we click into our administrator accounts, we do have a couple of different options over here. So you do have syntax highlighting. You can disable that when you're editing the code. So that means the code won't be underlined with red when things are misspelled. So it's quite annoying when you're coding. And over here, the admin color scheme, if you want to change the color scheme to something else, you can just do that. The language of the site you can change. Username you cannot change. Over here is quite important because you can create a nickname and display name publicly as. So for example, what does this do right there? Right here, we have a blog post that says written by Edge of David. I'm like, well, I don't want it to be Edge of David. I want it to be my name. How do I do that? Easy. Backspace out of that. And then just add in your name. Then you can navigate over here, display name publicly as. Then it pops up over here as the drop down. So that's how you change the publicly displayed information right there. Then you have your email, website, and then you have the biographical information over here. So this is if your theme is displaying an author bio. So you've seen at the very bottom of a blog post, like David has been a writer since 20 whatever, that type of thing. That's where you add in the biographical information. It's not for the account. This information is typically displayed and it may be publicly shown. So be careful with what you put in over here. So if your blog post is set up to display an author bio at the very bottom, you can edit the information right there. Anyways, that's it for user account management.